Underground Video Network. We are here at What the Rock, and we are here with Ken, who is a very inspiring to me as far as my art, as far as wanting to make the mini comic books that you do and stuff. And thank you for that. And I want you to explain a little bit of where we're at right now.
Well, this is a event that's being put together by the Columbus Coalition for Comic Creators, which is C4, which is a lot easier to say, but I don't want people thinking we're talking about plastique or anything like that. So, but the goal is for the organization, which is just now starting up and we're just feeling our way, is to kind of bring the great talent and energy that's in the Columbus comic book scene that's kind of off in a corner more out into the public, and show people that we're part of the artistic community here, we're a viable part of it. You really should take it out and embrace it, because without sounding too snotty about it, you know, there are other cities that do live music well, and there are cities that do nightlife well. Right. This is something Columbus could hang its hat on. This is something that we have a strong presence in, and we should really bring it to the forefront. And we want to do it by having events like this where we come out to outside of the ordinary comic book scene places and have events that aren't exactly the same as all the other events that you might see. Right. Benefiting the food bank, for instance, as opposed to, you know, there are a lot of great comic book related charities, but this is one that people outside of that community can grasp onto and see what we're doing. It's seeing it at work and working in the process. You know, instead of going in limbo and thank you. Okay, I think it's helping. But no, well, this is something, you know, there's going to be a direct benefit, and like I said, it's something that people outside of that already tight-knit and insular community can understand. It's like, oh, these are people too. They're interested in the problems that people have with homelessness or whatever. Whereas, you know, if you're going to run an event and you want to do something like the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund or the Hero Initiative, in addition to selling people on being a local comic book artist, you have to explain what your event is for. Right. And you add those extra steps of complexity, and people, even if they're well-intentioned, will turn off from you. Right. So I think it's important to do stuff that everybody can understand, and then you can get them into the comic books at the same time, particularly local stuff. Stay tuned. You're going to see a lot of art. You're going to see a lot of artists, and we're going to tune all of this. Underground Video Network. Announce to the audience who you are.
My name is James Moore. I write Radio Free Gehenna and other books for Two-Headed Monster Comics. We're a local comic publisher.
So, like, how long have you been coming to What the Rock as far as being part of this organization that you have?
Well, C4 hasn't really existed more than 6 weeks now.
It's the birthing.
Yeah, we had a conversation with. Well, I was talking to some of these people like Ken and Katie and Christian at Ken's Nick's release party for issue 2, and we started emailing each other and bouncing off ideas. And then the gallery artist who was going to do this today gallery hop at What the Rock, they dropped out, so there was a slot, and we just jumped in and got this organized in a couple weeks. So, you know, as far as our organization, not really been around that long. I've been to the Rock a couple of times previously, and I've always liked it. I think most recently was around this New Year's.
I was going to say it's a big turnout, because I didn't know there was going to be this many actually artists and people all in one room. So.
Well, I mean, as far as the number of artists, like, there's actually a ton in Columbus. It's a really, really invisible community, though, is the way probably I would say it. Yeah. Like, people don't know that we're all there. I mean, like, a lot of these guys, I don't personally know before we started researching these things. I've met, you know, probably half of them before, but just as many are new to me. We just kind of come in the process of getting people organized, which is kind of one of our goals, is to try to get more visible in the arts community. Columbus has such a good independent scene. Like, music, arts, even the independent food scene here. Like, there's a very big arts community that's local, and we've got comics people, and this is our attempt to kind of get them in contact with the rest of it, and to show. And one of the reasons why we're doing a charity event is because it's a good way to show that we're a part of the community and that we're involved in it, and that we're
not that we're just sitting somewhere drawing and just peeking out and then coming.
Yeah, we're willing to give back, and that's what we wanted to show the city first.
That's super awesome. Like I said, we're going to be taping this event. We're going to be showing artists in action, talking to writers and whatnot.
Yep.
I was also going to say, you said like with the music stuff, like what is like your musical influence in doing your craft and stuff like that?
Well, I actually for a long time I've been big into the connection between comics and music. I think I want to say it was Warren Ellis first who described panels as almost like a beat structure.
Yeah.
And to some extent you can sort of influence storytelling rhythms by size, shape of panel. It's almost like a beat. Like a 9-panel grid, for instance, is a very tight rhythm, and it has a certain, like a repetitive underbeat to it.
I didn't know. That's the first analogy for musical beat in comics that I think I've ever heard. So I'm just like.
Well, and like comics also, like a good single issue comic like works a lot like a pop single, like in that it's a replayable experience. Like you'll see. It's like you look at something like if you've ever heard of Brian Wood and Becky Cloonan's Demo, single issue stories where like you read them and they're great at it's like a song more than like a big plotted thing, right. And like you can go back to it later, enjoy it like you would put a song on your iPod or whatever. And there's a lot of I actually really interesting piece. I want to say. Sean Witzke, I want to say, wrote, who was talking about how, in terms of coloring in comics, the color wheel actually lines up pretty well with the major, I think the major 8 tones, and like you can actually kind of key those color codes to those tones, and that and I don't remember specifically which thing, but there's a chord change that like is a big rock chord. It's like the big monster rock chord, and like you can duplicate that in color and you get a similar effect.
It reminds me of I don't know if anybody watched Heroes, where this girl could see like color through music or whatever, or sound or
that's actually a real condition.
Okay, wow.
There's actually a real I don't know if you want to call it a disorder, but there's a real condition called synesthesia, where like you hear music and you see colors, or like smells become sounds, or
people say TV's fiction. I'm like, it's real, people. But yeah, that's what I think of.
There's a lot of structural similarities between comics and music. I think even more than like, while film grammar is useful for describing certain things in comics, I think they have more in common with music in a lot of ways.
That's sweet. Oh man, thank you for the interview, and I think we went in depth 101 in music and comics in general. But stay tuned for more. Introduce to the public who you are.
My name's Christian Hoffer. I'm the editor-in-chief for www.theouthousers.com.
I do that, I hope special effect is happening.
Sweet. Right. There's a special effect going on as I say
and
this.
If it's not, then we'll pretend it is in our minds.
Okay, that works for me.
But tell us more about the site.
It's a comic book forum. It was started up about 5 years ago. We opened up a front page about 2 years ago. I became the editor-in-chief. I started writing for the site about a year ago. Okay. And I became editor-in-chief in January. It covers basic comic news, stuff like that. We do a lot of features, interviews, things like that. And that's how I got to know Ken and James and all of them, is starting to do local interviews. So,
how do you think the turnout's been so far at this first C4?
I've been kind of surprised how well it's gone. We got a lot of submissions, a lot of live artists, and in terms of the public coming in, it's been pretty good, and in terms of the creators interested, it's been pretty good as well. So we're pretty happy with it.
All right, cool. Please check out the site. Here it goes again.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sweet. All right, introduce to the public who you are.
Hi, I'm Katie Bodke. I do the comic Next Year's Girl at nextyearsgirl.com. It's an autobiographical comic, and I post every Tuesday. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. So.
What was your? Did you go to like a formal art college to be doing your art? Or?
I'm actually a graphic designer. I went to Ohio University and I majored in design, and I took a lot of drawing classes and painting classes in addition, and I've been drawing since I could hold a pencil. So.
What do you do? Do you mix it up? Do you do painting type of deal, and or what do you prefer, like traditional or digital, or?
I actually thought about. I started out doing Next Year's Girl with my tablet on Photoshop, you know, and just to color it online, make it easy, things like that. But I started getting some art markers, and I really took off with that because I really like the texture and just the whole look and the nice rich colors and things like that. Yeah, I guess I enjoy traditional drawing a little bit more. What's that?
Art you can grab.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I like having that, you know, that experience. But I paint once in a while. I've tried a couple different things. Like I've colored the comic digitally a few times, and but yeah, I mean, I do paintings every now and then, and you know, just all sorts of illustrations and stuff like that. So.
It would be like, I mean, because the art in What the Rock right now is so vivid of everything, any type, pop, noir, dark art, you know. Well, who was and this could be mainstream or independent. Who was like your influential? I see him doing it or her doing it. I got to do it. Who's the person that you see their art, it makes you drive to get up, grab a pencil, and go at it?
Well, my absolute favorite artist is Ashley Wood, and he actually has a few pieces down at Rivet. The robots.
Spawn. He did Spawn covers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he paints most of his stuff, and I love. He does chicks and robots, and I don't know, for some reason I adore that. So yeah, I like him a lot. Jeff Smith is actually a big influence of mine. I used to live in Michigan, but I knew about him because I read Disney Adventures, and he did Bone installments in there, and he was my kind of first influence. And then Danielle Corsetto of girlswithslingshots.com, Jeff Jocks, questionablecontent.net. Like, those guys are my heroes too.
That's a good mixture to you know, to blend in. And as I'm talking, hopefully there is her artist popping up, as you can see, instead of just you just see us two or whatnot. Once again, tell the people your website again one more time.
It's nextyearsgirl.com. So check it out.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Sweet. Introduce yourself to the Underground Video Network public.
I'm Mike Renner, co-owner of What the Rock here in the show.
You better have effects. I swear you better have effects.
Cool.
How long have you been running the shop?
We opened in October of 2006, so we'll be 5 years old, coming up real soon.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah. And how do you think the turnout of this C4 coalition?
It's awesome. I think it definitely shows a good fan support and networking within the group themselves too.
All right, cool. What would be your? I mean, because obviously you're into art and music and writing and all that stuff. What is your influence in doing what you do?
Well, we definitely have a love for rock and roll, and
hence What the Rock.
Yep. Pretty much everything we do in the store has either some nostalgic value or some connection to pop culture and rock and roll.
Right. Let me see. What else would I say? What would be your favorite as far as like movies and stuff? What's one of the movies that get you going and get you inspired into in rock category and stuff like that? Or
interesting question. Off the top of my head, rock movie. I don't know. I like documentaries a lot.
Okay.
There was one documentary, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a Frank Zappa documentary. It was pretty awesome.
Cool.
God, I wish I could remember the name of that.
We'll look up the name. We'll find out. That's what we do. All right. Can you give us a website for the public to reach?
Sure. It's whattherock.com.
Simple. Should have started that. So it just took a wild shot in the dark with that. Well, I want to thank you very much for having us here to tape in the artists and the writers and all that stuff. So stay tuned for more.
Cool. Thanks.
Sweet.